Amen.
Excuse me. The 4-H junk. Public comment is our first order on the agenda. If there's anyone wishing to speak before the board on any issue, you have 2 minutes. Okay, seeing none, we'll repeat it 3 times, which is legal. Is there anyone wishing to speak before the board on any topic? Okay, third and final time, is there anyone wishing to speak before the board on any topic? All right, let's close the public comment period. Ask for a motion to approve the county board minutes of March 12th. They're on page 12 of our agenda packet.
Move to approve.
Second. Okay, we have a motion to approve the board minutes for March 12th, 2019, and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the board minutes signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose? Okay, board minutes are approved from March the 12th, 2019. Acknowledge receipt of the approved committee minutes. Road and Bridge Committee from December 18th is attached on page 15.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve with a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the Road and Bridge Committee meeting minutes from December 18th, 2018, signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose? Okay. The committee minutes from the Road and Bridge meeting are approved. Consent comments. Anybody have comments for the end of the...
I don't have any.
Just one announcement, please.
Okay. I have some announcements and some reports from meetings. Nothing.
Nothing for me.
Commissioner Jacob.
Nothing for me.
Attorney Sonneman. Very good. Approval of the agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the agenda as submitted. In a second, any discussion? All those in favor of approving the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Okay, the agenda is approved. Moving right along, consent business. Mr. Fritz.
I'll read the consent business into the record. Department recommendation 7.1, approve amendment to cooperative agreement for treatment court services with 3rd Judicial District Court. 7.2, approve purchase of services agreement with Catholic Charities Diocese of Winona, Rochester for guardian conservator services. 7.3, approve monthly resolution. 7.4, approve Minnesota Department of Health Community Health Board grant project agreement for perinatal hepatitis B services. 7.5, approve Take Our Daughters and Sons to Work Day. 7.6, approve professional service agreement for consultation and training for social services information system healthcare claims. 7.7, confirm payment of disbursements. That concludes the consent agenda.
Okay, we have a motion for approving the consent business.
I'll move.
Okay,
Second.
all right, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent business as read. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the consent business as read signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Okay, consent business is approved. Thank you, Mr. Fritz. General business, 8.1. This is on page 53. We're receiving a presentation and approving a resolution proclaiming National Crime Victims' Rights Week, which is April 7th to 13th, 2019. Thank you for coming and giving us that information.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Claire Exley. I'm the County Attorney's Victim Services Coordinator. I'm going to just have a brief presentation and then asking to declare this week National Crime Victim Rights Week. Crime happens in every community, including Winona County. Victims of crime include those who have experienced violent crime, such as assault, homicide, robbery, domestic and sexual violence, but also those who are victims of general crime. General crime includes, but is certainly not limited to, burglaries, thefts, arson, criminal damage to property, and identity theft. As a victim of any one of these crimes, a person may struggle to make sense of why the crime occurred and what can be done. The Winona County Attorney's Victim Services Office provides services that assist in giving victims a voice in the criminal justice system. These services also assist crime victims in navigating and understanding the criminal justice system while a case is being prosecuted by the Winona County Attorney's Office. Victim Services provides information to crime victims about their rights granted to them under Minnesota Statute 611A. Services can include court accompaniment, notification of court hearings, notification of plea proposals, assistance with victim impact statements, and restitution. In 2018, there were 2,544 documented contacts by Victim Services with crime victims. Last year, the Winona County Attorney's Office filed 712 adult criminal cases, and the majority of those cases, 372 of them, have one or more victims. Many of the cases have multiple victims or involve children who witness violent crime. Of the adult criminal cases with the victim, there were 138 property crimes, 240 person crimes, 21 cases that included both a person and a property crime. Of the 240 person crimes charged in Winona County last year, 162 of those were domestic violence related, 24 involved sexual assault, and 2 of the cases included domestic and sexual assault. Although I work closely with other agencies that provide services within Winona County, the Winona County Attorney's Office and Victim Services is solely responsible for meeting the statutory obligations for notifications and ensuring the rights of victims in our cases. Every year in April, the Federal Office for Victims of Crimes helps lead communities through the country in their annual observances of National Crime Victim Rights Week, which will be observed in 2018 on April 7th through the 13th. This year's theme, Honoring Our Past, Creating Hope for the Future, celebrates the progress made by victim service providers before us as we look forward to a future of crime victim services that is even more inclusive, accessible, and trauma-informed. This year, Winona County Victim Services will be raising awareness around the community through several activities during that week. On April 8th, I will be staffing a table at St. Mary's University, Minnesota, along with their counseling services and campus safety staff. At this table, information will be given to students regarding campus services, as well as crime victim rights and services provided to them under Minnesota law. On April 10th and 12th, we'll also be staffing the same tables with the same information at Hy-Vee and Winona State. Throughout the week, radio ads and a news story will run that share the stories of crime victims and their experiences, focus on emphasizing the importance of victim services, and highlight the week in observance of National Crime Victim Rights Week. As an education piece, a courthouse guidebook was created to help victims understand the court process, how they can access these services, and what they can expect when attending court proceedings. Additionally, a section of the Winona County Law Library was updated to include a section which is dedicated to crime victim rights and services. This space will serve as a hub of information for crime victims to come and learn about their rights, the services available to them, and conduct any of the necessary research they need to do. The Law Library in the courthouse provides a calm environment for learning and serves as a meeting space for victims and service providers. At these events, information about crime victim rights will be provided and promotional items will be given out with the goal to educate the Winona community about crime victim rights. The color blue represents Crime Victim Rights Week. Along with the other items on your table, I'm asking that you wear these ribbons to show your support for crime victims during National Crime Victim Rights Week. The Winona County Attorney's Crime Victim Service Office is dedicated to assisting victims and survivors in the aftermath of crime. We ask that Winona County reaffirm its commitment to creating a victim service and criminal justice response that assists all victims of crime by proclaiming April 7th through the 13th of 2019 National Crime Victim Rights Week. Thank you.
Thank you for that report. You've been very busy. So the law library's updated, the process and the victims' participation in the process is more organized. And then we have radio ads and news reports. I hope we didn't have to pay for those because this seems like public service announcements and information. So that would be very helpful. And meeting with the students and also meeting in the public at Hy-Vee, I think is a really good idea. Any points?
Madam Chair, so for information, if a member of the family is a victim, is the whole family available, are these programs or services available for the whole family?
It depends on the situation. If it's a deceased person, then yes, or a minor or another person who's otherwise incapacitated, then the family would be considered the victim.
And with that, unfortunately, in the national news, we've had some more tragedy after some of these school shootings and things of the
Suicides.
there's a term for survivor's guilt and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so do you deal with that issue? Is it a separate topic? I mean, we've had several suicides related to survivor guilt, basically, is what they're assuming it is.
Personally, I haven't seen that a lot, but I have given a couple referrals for counselors and people that they can talk to, just dealing with not necessarily survivor's guilt, but general counseling.
Counseling.
So I'd be prepared to handle that if we do have a case.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you. Just a personal question. If I take this little thing out and then press, it's a flashlight. I didn't want to
It's a
set off.
flashlight and a whistle, so if you take that out, it'll activate the flash.
I didn't want to set off a huge, horrendous noise. That's what. So I would appreciate it, and I think the board, Marcia's already got her ribbon on, so I think it gives us a talking point in the community. So I think, Chris, I might be the only one that doesn't have it on. But anyway, I think that's a good talking point for us to represent these services in the
you.
community. So thank you.
I move to approve the resolution.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the resolution and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of accepting the resolution as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Okay, thank you very much, Claire. That's
you.
very good.
Thank you, Claire.
Okay, we're down to Marcia's announcements and then my list.
One of the fixtures in my community area is the Pickwick Mill, and they're having their annual meeting April 1st. Yes, April Fool's Day. They're having their annual meeting at 7 o'clock at the Masonic Lodge across from the mill. And then put on your calendars the big event. The Pickwick Mill Day is always the first Saturday. No, I'm sorry. I think it's the second Saturday, not Labor Day weekend. It's the second Saturday in September. And if you've never been to the mill, it is one of the few still operating. They flip the levers and all the things turn. So it is one of the few mills in the country that still can be operated. So put that on your calendar. Pickwick Mill Day.
Operate with water power?
Water, yes.
It's going to go great guns with all the.
Well, by September it might be.
Well, yeah.
And they've put a lot of money to maintain that water wheel. So it is
Yeah.
water power.
Good. Okay. I have a meeting announcement for the Winona Housing Authority. It's this Thursday at the History Center from 5 to 7. And there's going to be a social hour and discussion. So that's always a good meeting to attend. There also is a meeting on engaged ethics by the Winona State University School of Business. It's in Stark 103, April 16th from 4:30 to 6. So just a nice way to keep up with some of the ethics that we're living through. I also attended a meeting. We will not get any minutes most likely, but there will be public information available. I attended the Environmental Quality Board meeting last night that was in Red Wing. The purpose was to look at the options around the possibility of doing an environmental impact study in the southeast region related to nitrates and the karst topology, very specific. So there was table discussion, and then there was compiled information, and it seemed like at the end some of the information fell into one of two camps. And to me, they do go together. One set of people wanted take the money for the survey and put it into implementation, to incentivizing the best practices. And that was a very popular discussion at our table. because many of our table believed that that would be an outcome of the study also. And that was really where the second camp came, was to say, yes, it's good to implement the best practices and to incentivize those, but it's very good to take a step back and make sure that the best practices that we are incentivizing are up to date. Farming changes year by year, actually, and make sure that, we're using the best set of best practices that fit specifically on the karst. So those were kind of two of the main discussion points from the meeting. There were quite a few county commissioners there. I was pleasantly surprised. The room was quite full. Chris Rogers, our loyal reporter here, was there. So, many people from Winona community were there. So, if you want to talk about it specifically, either ask me or Chris for more information.
Well, Madam Chair, there's still a potential to put a written comment in. I think they had a window.
Regarding the EIS process?
Right.
I believe so. Because one other piece of information was shared with us. Originally, the governor's budget had a $2 million price tag set aside for this process, for this EIS process. And that, of course, has to go through legislative review and those kinds of things and end up in the final budget. So meanwhile, they have scoured the budget, and it's now down to $640,000, and it would be used for the scoping process and also for kind of the initial process, if they decide to go forward with an EIS. So EQB, their next meeting is in May. We met all the new board members for the EQB. They've increased their citizen members. And of course, all of the commissioners, Commissioner of Agriculture, Commissioner of Health, all of the commissioners are also members of the EQB. So depending on what they decide at the May 11th meeting, but we will also get a report on the meeting as it happened last night. Each table had a note taker and a facilitator who were neutral to the process. So they're probably busy right now compiling those kinds of notes. I had a couple things that I would like to see if the board would like to include them either in a future agenda or in a working session. One is the census discussion. I think the board appointed Mr. Bambanek, and we really need to have a discussion about any grants that are available, any resources that are available, what we expect his timeline to be, and how it will be, what our part might be in the community, because this is really critical in terms of the kinds of dollars that return to us because of this census. So it's really important that we make an all-out effort to get everyone counted. So I would just ask if there's a second that we could have a discussion on the census.
I second that, and then Bob Bamanick can give us an update where he's
Right.
what he needs.
Thank you, Commissioner Ward.
Well, and it's critical. It's where you're. They've used it. It's as simple as where you're sleeping April 1.
Right.
Is it April 1, or do I have the wrong date?
Whatever the date is, it's where you are that day. Yes.
And so with our
Not
college.
where you vote to not where
Right.
you, yeah.
With our college, so I think April 1 is before any college dismissal, end of the.
Yes, it should be.
Yeah.
April 1, 2020,
Yeah,
2020.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's critical to get
Yeah.
all our college students counted.
Okay. Also, I know as a board we juggle a lot of issues, and I don't want to let any of them fall between the cracks. So at some point, I would like an update on the water issues as they've been coming forward through some of the meetings that different commissioners have been attending. So Do I have a second on that so we can discuss where we are on water issues?
I guess I thought we had
Yeah, we had some,
proved something similar, but yes, yeah, sure.
Okay,
I thought we had.
Yeah.
it was, well, it was linked to some of the legislative.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, there was to just
Right.
have a working
Yeah,
session
yeah.
on discussion of water,
Yeah.
the role of the county in water policy, I guess is. the best
something
way
like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's on the list to find a date that fits.
Right.
And the other thing is I don't know if you want to approach it with a general discussion at a working session first, so we can then get staff input.
That would be
Or
good.
whether you want to have some kind of staff input to begin with, but I think it'd probably be better to hear what you want us to do for.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Okay. And the last thing that I had was, I know we all attend a variety of meetings, and some of them, the minutes actually come and appear in our packets, and that's really a good way to keep up and to know the issues that are being addressed in those meetings. But some of them don't actually report minutes back to us. So I've seen on some other county agendas where, say between public comment and approval of the board minutes, they might have a category where board members report on meetings they've attended, which I think is a little bit different than just kind of making a comment at the end of the meeting. So I don't know if we want to talk about the possibility of having that process so that we can all keep up to date on where we've been and what some of the issues are. Doesn't have to be lengthy. I mean, I don't want to discuss the discussion, but that's my point, is that maybe we could have a discussion about adding that kind of comment period officially, not comments, but reports, actually, from the meetings we attend. So if I have a second, we can,
Sure.
Or will we cover that in goals and?
Well, that would be fine, and I would do that. Could we start with the assignments sheet?
Yes.
And then,
that would be.
because I don't know which committees actually we get a report on, and which ones we don't.
Well, and the timing is slightly delayed because we wait until there are official minutes.
Right, because I actually,
But,
yeah.
yeah, so, but this would be, just be a report, kind of like the report I just gave you on the EQB, only it's not a comment, it's a report, if that's okay. Well,
Yeah, okay,
never
so-
mind, that's
all right,
what we
yeah.
would discuss at the discussion, so now we have permission to move ahead with discussion of that.
Or my thought is maybe do that when we set some goals.
That would be fine,
To-
whatever.
Instead of us,
As long as it gets done, as long as we have a discussion. And the other thing, I don't know if this is a new category, but it seems like every time we meet, we have the opportunity to address some of our staff that have gone above and beyond or that are specifically involved with some community projects and giving of their own time to do that. I would like to give kudos. We have Ukraine visitors coming over the weekend. There are 3 lawyers and 3 doctors, and they're coming with their own interpreters, so they don't speak English. Some of the things they're investigating in the community are some of the topics of autism and housing, and I think they're also looking at some of our past immigration and how it's actually led to the culture that we have here in Winona County. So Bob Bambenek is taking that group out for 4 hours on Sunday, and he's set up a heritage tour for them, so they'll have a chance to see that kind of information. Some of the other information is being handled through the university and through other things like that, but I just think that's a really that just shows his willingness to really invest time in the community and in visitors and have people come away with a better understanding of what we're about here, which is all very positive. So I would give kudos to Mr. Bambenek. Anybody else is welcome to do that. I don't know if we want to unofficially add that as a category to our meetings, but I think we have a lot going on with our staff that we don't always see, and it's been very positive. No one else had comments or reports. All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do we need a second? Not on a motion to adjourn. Yeah. Okay, we have a motion to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Okay.